Hi, my name is Jim Adams, and I am visiting Chicago, visiting some family on a long vacation trip. I'm from Colorado, and I teach at Colorado State University. I teach in the Department of Systems Engineering in the College of Engineering. What else?
Yeah, very well. And what all studies you did and what you are currently doing with these computers?
Yeah, so I studied electrical engineering at Michigan Technological University many years ago. Then I served in the Air Force for 8 years, and 2 of those was spent studying electrical engineering for control systems as a master's degree at the Air Force Institute of Technology. Then transitioned to a couple of different activities and eventually studied and received a PhD in engineering at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. Since then, I worked for Lockheed Martin Corporation, building satellites and ground stations, and eventually started transitioning into teaching at the university level in 2014. So this is my 12th year doing part-time teaching. And now I teach systems engineering. I'm currently working on a course called Fundamentals of Systems Engineering, the bottom level, but it gives us a good breadth for students. And I also teach a course called Space Mission Analysis and Design, where I kind of help everybody understand what do we do with space, how do we use the benefits of space, and how do we build successful systems for that. And also a course called Cost Optimization for Systems Engineers, because it's really hard to balance all these different things coming together. We just try to equip system engineers to be ready for those kinds of challenges.
Very nice. Sir, when you said about electrical the smart systems and all, control systems, what was the equipment? Your system was supporting what all systems?
Yeah, so I worked for a couple of different satellite programs. One of them was called the Defense Support Program, which was a national defense program detecting ballistic missile launches. Idea being that if somebody knows that we can see or someone else can see a missile being launched, then they are ready to defend or respond. If they can't see it, then the attacking missiles might land and cause significant damage. That was a big defense program, more preventative than anything else. Then I worked for a meteorological satellite program, so detecting water in the atmosphere and trying to figure out what the weather's going to be like. A lot of fun, that program there. And then when I worked for Lockheed Martin, I worked on a more advanced infrared sensing satellite and eventually worked on one of these new proliferated low Earth orbit satellite systems called a transport system. And that is a communication satellite, kind of like Starlink, but nowhere near as many of those satellites, but with lots of laser crosslinks and moving data around quickly for military and government operations.
When you chose engineering, why you landed in electrical engineering rather than computer science or mechanical or civil or what was that idea?
Why electrical engineering? Probably for 2 reasons. One, I played with electronics when I was a kid. Took things apart, figured out what was burned out, soldered in a new part. But then I also realized, and this is probably going to get me in trouble with other classical engineering fields, but electrical engineering is very close to theory. It operates very close to theory, at least in the everyday world. And so for me, the math was very close to the electrical components and circuits that I built. So it was a very good match. I have a strong math background, and math is very natural for me. Since then, I moved into what's called systems engineering, which is really getting all those engineers to work together to make successful systems, because I kind of have this natural big picture ability. I used to take cars apart and put them back together, and I don't need that screw. Well, how do you know you don't need that screw? Well, because I understand the bigger system. So I can modify things and help them work and continue to work. I'm a bit of a fixer and repairer kind of guy.
Very nice. So you said you work for Lockheed Martin, right? Mm-hmm. Do you own any stocks of that company?
I no longer work for Lockheed Martin. I retired 3 years ago. And no, I don't personally own them. So when I was an employee, our 401k was invested in Lockheed Martin. But when I left, I transferred my 401k to a IRA. And it's managed by a company that just spreads it out.
But it's a good stock to buy. That's what.
Yeah, I'm not a stock person. I'm because I am an eternal optimist. I believe that things will always go well. And that is a very bad attitude to have when you're in the stock market.
How long your vacation would be in Chicago?
So we're just here for a few days. This is Thursday, so we arrived yesterday. We leave on Monday to head back to Colorado and get the kids ready for school.
Very nice. Did you visit any foreign countries ever with your job or other?
When I worked for a small company in Dayton, Ohio, I visited Germany and England and Australia and Japan and South Korea and Singapore and China and Mexico and Colombia. So with this small company I visited,
Yeah.
yay, Mexico. Yeah, but I haven't traveled a whole lot since then.
That was way back in 70s or 80s something.
That was in the 1990s, yes.
Okay. You have any plans to visit other places now in future?
No fixed plans right now. Just got a lot of teaching going on, so that's our near-term plan. Also have two kids, one 16, one 12. So kind of focused on that right now.
Nice talking to you, sir. I want to explore more from you, but anyway, the time is limited now.
Sure.
Okay, we'll meet sometime again.
Yeah,
So,
please visit my sister in
yeah,
Houston
yeah.
at Felber Pottery.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.